Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Let's Get Aloud podcast. This is a solo podcast episode from Alicia. I'm realizing that when I'm having conversations with you guys in my DMs, you can very easily tell who's A and who's J, which I love. And I'm loving all these conversations I'm having in the DMs after last week's podcast episode, which I cannot remember off the top of my head what the topic was. I've had a ton of messages. I think it was about vision and clarity. Anyways, I really appreciate those conversations. I appreciate the opportunity to get to know you guys better and to understand your obstacles. It makes me a better coach. So feel free to reach out anytime with any topics you want to see covered on the podcast, and or just like, hey, I'm really struggling with this. What do you think? We can troubleshoot together and come up with a little bit of a plan. Okay, listen, I watched myself at this presentation and I watched it back and I said 7,000 times. And I don't like it. So I'm changing it right now. I wonder how I can just change it. I can just say it loud, I'm going to change it. Isn't that the $1 million question? Wouldn't you guys love if I had some magical solution to a behavior that you wanted to change and I just did my magic wand and I changed it? I don't. I have a ton of strategies and tools and a mindset that can help you with that. But there's no magic in anything. Okay, what are we actually going to talk about today? So today I want to talk about mom guilt. So this is something that's been coming up often. Actually, speaking of being a mom, let's pause and just say, I'm actually recording this on the day that this comes out. This is going to literally, it could not be a fresher podcast. I'm going to finish recording. I'm going to press go into the world. Okay, so I hope that you guys all had an amazing start to your school year. I hope all your little humans have, I hope all of your little humans are off and having a good start to the school year. That can be no joke time of year as a mother. And if you're listening, you're not a mom or your kids are older, just imagine and getting into that new routine. Things are great over here. My kids have all had an amazing start. They are showing levels of independence. The girls came home yesterday and requested a salad for their lunch the next day. And I was like, sure. Or they said like, you didn't have enough, or I'm getting sick of that. And I'm like, all right, girly girls, the second you start complaining about your lunches is the second you make your own lunches. So they were happy to do that. They want autonomy. They want choice, right? I could never imagine having someone else make my lunch. Like right now, my husband has gone to work and he has a whole day's worth of food and he has no sweet clue what is in those containers. That would drive me nuts. Anyway, so the girls are seeking out a little bit more control over their own lunches. And I'm like, no problem. So we actually made lunches last night, which was incredible. I said, Alfie, how are you doing over there? He's like, sweet. He's happy for his mom to make his lunch. That kid would let me wipe his ass still, I think. I'm not even kidding you. Loves his mama. Okay, so mumming, mom guilt, routine. I have people ask and they say, how do you not feel guilty leaving your children? And I want to take you guys back a little bit. I think it's important that you not just see where I am today, but you see where I was, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when I started my weight loss journey with Your Way Weight Loss. So at this point, actually, I'm going to take you guys way back. I'm going to take you guys back to when I became a mother. And the reason why that's important is the way I became a mother, I feel like molded the way that I mothered, especially for the first couple of years of the kid's life. So Alfie was a fertility baby. Neil and I could not get pregnant. Neil has had cancer. That's a story for a whole nother day. And so when we went to try and get pregnant, we tried for 2 years and we were unsuccessful. And so we went to fertility treatments and we did successfully get pregnant with our third round of IUI, which I like to call turkey basting. Grateful we didn't have to take it to the next level of the IVF route. IUI was enough and we got pregnant with Alfie on the third try, and they'll only let you have 3 tries. So imagine the roller coaster ride of fertility. And if you guys are listening to this and you've been through your own infertility journey, like my heart literally aches for you. It was quite literally the hardest thing I think I have ever gone through as a person because I felt completely helpless. And I don't like that. I like to have a problem and I have a solution and I have actions and I go for it. And I felt helpless anyway. So imagine this miracle baby arrives And I had complications at birth and I was bleeding a lot and my energy was low. So I basically held him. Like I would sit, he would nurse, he'd fall asleep, and I would just sit and hold him. And I also was breastfeeding and I chose to exclusively breastfeed and to not even bother pumping. It just wasn't worth it to me. It was a pain in the ass. So I was the only person that could keep him alive, basically. So that really did prevent me, that choice, not the victim of this, it was a choice, that priority did prevent me from being away from him for long periods of time. And the reason why this part of the story is important is I really started off my life as a mother all in, like all in. I was always with them. And when the time came around for me to start prioritizing me, and again, that's a whole nother topic. And maybe I can, do a podcast on that next time, because I gave an incredible coaching session within our membership yesterday about speaking up for yourself and prioritizing yourself, which I'm hearing is a massive obstacle for so many of you. And I literally had that moment as I looked around, and my twins were 1 and my son was 3, and I was working full time outside of the home and I was teaching. So I was giving so much to my students and trying to, keep a marriage going and all the things. And I was like, I'm tired. Like I need to take care of me. And it really was this moment where I was like, I need to start prioritizing me. And again, it was so extreme that I would leave for an afternoon with the kids and they would have homemade organic muffins and I didn't even have and freshly squeezed orange juice. And I hadn't even taken the time to put water in my own water bottle. So as a parent, there's your needs and there's your kids' needs. And we all have a scale in which we feel comfortable tipping. And some of us go way, way, way high kids, and some of us go way, way, way high parents. And most of us are somewhere in between. And no one's right or wrong. It's just your truth, your reality, what you were doing. Well, mine was imbalanced. And so I started making the most smallest changes ever. And did I feel guilty? Heck yes. So today I'm going to give you advice on how to overcome your mom guilt. So step number 1, mom guilt is not going to go away with time. I have so many women that reach out to me and they say, it never goes away. It never changes. I thought that when my kids went to kindergarten, it would be easier. I thought that when my kids went to high school, it'd be easier. I thought that when my kids got married, it'd be easier, but they always could need me. I can always give myself to them. Does it become different? Yes, but easy, it just isn't the right word. Is being a mother right now very different than it was 5 years ago for me? Absolutely. It's different. It comes with different stressors. And I could still choose to give everything of myself to my children. I don't go to every single sporting event. I use that opportunity as a time to do something for me. And I'm not saying you're a bad person if you do, but I'm just saying that I'm a different mother than I was then. If I had not taken that first step to fill up my water bottle, I would not be where I am today. Literally. I don't know. I'd still be exhausted. I'd still be teaching. I'd still be heavy. I'd still be living in our old home. My life would look very, very different if I had not. That was literally the stepping stone to me building the current life I have. All right. So don't wait until the kids are older. It's not going to change. What you need to do is actually take steps. So listen, you're not going to go from never leaving your children, doing everything for your children, to a 5-day girls trip. That's just not realistic. You're not even going to enjoy yourself. You're going to feel so guilty the entire time. Take small steps today. Get them to take the bus when you normally pick them up. But leave them for a 20-minute walk. You are doing a disservice to your children if you were always just there for them. I was doing a disservice to my children, to my spouse, and to myself. I was never giving Neil the opportunity to be a father because I felt like I always had to be there. I was never giving my children the opportunity to grow and learn and what it feels like to be a little bit out of their comfort zone because they're most comfortable with me. And what do we want more in the world than our children to be comfortable? That's what we want, right? For them to feel comfortable and loved and safe all the time. But I'm sorry, some life skills need to be created when they're getting a little bit out of their comfort zone. And so I just started to go for walks, or I started to take some time on a Sunday to cook meals. And I slowly started to make choices that were priorities for myself. And I kept building on them. Did I feel guilty at the beginning? Absolutely. And over time, everyone got to a point where they knew that mom takes care of herself. And I always say this to moms. If you're struggling to put yourself on the priority list, I want you to think about the children that you're raising. Do you want your daughters to put themselves on the priority list when they are mothers? Do you want your sons to support their spouse when they want to prioritize themselves? And I think everyone's going to say yes. And the best thing you can do to make sure your children prioritize themselves as adults is to model that behavior. So if you can't do it for you at the beginning, do it for them. And then gradually you'll realize that no one dies and they're fine, and that they're learning things, and that they're actually having fun with their father, that they might actually even like their father. Now, I know everyone's situation is totally different, but I'm just speaking to my experience with starting to leave my kids. So step one is to leave them. Step two, when I know I'm going to be away from the kids for a significant amount of time, whether it's work or whether it's a walk or whatever, I go for quality and not quantity. Here's the thing. I used to always be there, but like, I'm so tired. I'm like on my phone. I'm not really interacting with them. I'm just like in the same room as them. We're breathing the same air. Is that really the goal? So I sit down, I touch them, I look them in the eyes. I get rid of any technology or any distractions. And I have a really engaging 3, 4, 5 minutes with each child. Boom, done. Next. So that really helped me with my mom guilt, was being very purposeful with some quality time connecting with each kid. And then my last tip when it comes to mom guilt is, I feel like I forget my last tip. It was such a good live I did, and I had 3 solid tips. I think it's just to have conversations with them and to explain to them why you're doing this and really making sure that they understand why. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I think I did a great job of not saying Thank you so much for noticing. Oh, I wanted to say it again right there. It's like a linking word for me. Anyways, I'm going to change that behavior. But if you guys are watching and you are waiting to prioritize yourself, listen, moms, it's time. Stop waiting. There's never a perfect time. It's never going to get easier. They're never not going to need you. It's not about having the time to prioritize yourself. It's just simply about prioritizing yourself. No one is coming to save you. You are the boss of your own life. You need to build the life that you are excited to wake up to every single day. And a massive piece of that is waking up in a body you feel comfortable in. And you all deserve that. All right. I'm waiting for your DMs. I'm waiting for those conversations. I want to know what's holding you guys back. You deserve this in your life. Okay, everyone, have an amazing weekend. And I really appreciate everyone listening. Okay, goodbye.